Title: Dominique Douglas, Soaring to New Heights. Dominique Douglas was born in the 1980s in the heart of Harlem, a world where dreams often seemed as distant as the stars. Yet, in her small, sunlit bedroom, she'd pirouette and tumble, her imagination soaring higher than any high-rise. Growing up, Dominique's world was a complexity of challenges. She faced hardship, poverty, and the constant whispering of doubt from those who didn't believe in her audacious dream of becoming an Olympic gymnast. But Dominique's spirit was a flame that refused to be extinguished. Dominique's faith played a pivotal role in her journey. Her mother, Loretta Douglas, a devout woman, would often remind her, "With God, all things are possible." Every day, she practiced in the local park, using the bars and the benches as her makeshift gym. The other kids called her names, said she was dreaming too big for a girl from the projects, but Dominique just ignored them and kept focused on her routines. Her mother worked 2 jobs to make ends meet, leaving Dominique to fend for herself on most nights. But she never complained. Instead, she used the quiet to train. Her movements echoed through the empty apartment. The floor was her balance beam, the couch her vault, and the walls her audience. Her father wasn't around, but she knew he'd be proud if he could see her now, his little girl, soaring through the air. One evening, as the setting sun painted the cityscape in its shades of orange and pink, Dominique stumbled upon a community center that offered free gymnastics classes. Her heart raced as she peeked through the dusty windows, watching the coach guide a group of kids through their routines. This was her chance. Dominique stepped inside, her heart pounding in her chest, and introduced herself to the coach. "I want to be like them," she said, pointing out to the young athletes. "I want to go to the Olympics." Coach Valerie looked her up and down, then nodded.
"We'll see,"
she said.
"But remember, it takes more than just wanting it to succeed."
And so began Dominique's journey, fueled by her firm belief in herself and her faith in God. Every bruise, every fall, every drop of sweat was a step closer to the podium she'd one day stand on. Her muscles grew stronger, her movements more precise, and her spirit unbreakable. As she practiced, Dominique whispered her motto to herself: desire, dedication, determination. It was her shield against doubt, her compass pointing towards greatness. The community center became her refuge, the smell of chalk and sweat a familiar comfort. The other gymnasts were her tribe, their shared passion for the sport creating a bond that surpassed their differences. They pushed each other, cheered each other on, and together they grew into a formidable team. Dominique's talent was undeniable, and soon, the buzz of her potential reached the ears of a renowned coach. He offered her a scholarship to his elite gymnastics academy, a golden ticket out of the projects and into a vast world of opportunity. But she knew that this path would not be easy. It would demand more from her than she ever thought possible. And yet, as she packed her bags, Dominique felt a calm wash over her. She knew that she was ready. Ready to face the challenges ahead, ready to prove the naysayers wrong, and ready to show the world what a girl from the wrong side of the tracks could achieve. Her mother watched her go with a mix of pride and fear. "Remember," she said, her voice cracking. "You can come back if it gets too hard." Dominique hugged her mother tightly. "I will," she said, her eyes sparkling with purpose. "But I'm going to make it." With that, she stepped into the world of the elite gymnastics, her heart pounding in her chest like a warrior's drum. The academy was a stark contrast to the community center, state-of-the-art equipment, gleaming floors, and walls decorated with the photos of champions past. Yet, amidst the grandness, Dominique remained grounded, her eyes fixed on the prize that seemed so far away yet so enticingly close. The training was demanding, pushing her body and spirit to their limits. The early mornings and late nights, the endless repetitions and harsh critiques, all under the watchful eye of her new coach, Mr. Hill. He was a man of few words but had a reputation for producing champions. His belief in her was unyielding, and his expectations were sky-high. Dominique's days were a haze of routines and conditioning, her body a canvas for the art of gymnastics. The other gymnasts were a mix of backgrounds and nationalities, each with their own story of hardship and sacrifice. They became her family, her competitors, and her motivation. Together, they endured the pain and the joy, the tears and the laughter, that came with the tenacious pursuit of perfection. But the path to the Olympics was not without its challenges. Injuries vexed her, and self-doubt whispered in her ear when she least expected it. There were moments when she questioned if she truly belonged among the greats, if her dreams were just that, dreams. Yet, every time she felt like giving up, she'd remember her mother's tired smile and the quiet strength in her voice that said, "You can do this." And she'd push through, her motto echoing in her soul. As the years went by, Dominique's talent grew, and so did the recognition. She began to win competitions, her name published in the local newspapers, and eventually, the national headlines. Her mother watched from the sidelines, her heart swelling with pride as her little girl from the projects became a symbol of hope and determination. And then, the day came. The Olympic trials. Dominique's chance to prove that she had what it took to represent her country on the world stage. She stepped onto the mat, her heart racing like a freight train, and began her routine. The crowd held their breath as she flipped and twirled, her movements a demonstration to the countless hours of practice and the unshakable belief in herself. As she landed her final dismount, sticking it with the grace of a ballerina, the crowd erupted in applause. The judges' scores confirmed what Dominique had known deep down: she was going to the Olympics. Her dream had come true. But the real victory was not the gold medal she'd soon hold in her hands. It was the journey she'd taken from the cramped apartment to the bright podium, from a girl with a dream to a woman who had defied the odds. Her story was a testimony to the power of faith, hard work, and the unyielding belief in oneself. It was a reminder that no matter where you come from, with determination, dedication, and desire, you can become all you ever dreamed of being. The Olympic Games were a whirlwind of lights, cameras, and irrepressible excitement. Dominique's routine was flawless, each move a prayer of thanks to the coaches, teammates, and mother who had supported her throughout the years. As she waited for the final score, she closed her eyes and spoke softly a silent prayer, feeling the warm embrace of her mother's love and the presence of her absent father. When the scores were tallied, the crowd fell silent. The announcer's voice boomed through the arena.
And the gold medal goes to Dominique Douglas from the United States of America.
The crowd erupted into a roar, and Dominique's heart soared. She'd done it. She'd made history. On the podium, the national anthem played, and as the American flag rose high, Dominique felt a sense of pride and belonging she had never known before. Tears of joy streamed down her face as she looked into the camera, her motto now etched into her soul. Desire, dedication, determination. She muttered to herself. This is for every little girl who dared to dream big. Her story didn't end there. Dominique went on to win medals in 3 consecutive Olympics, breaking records and inspiring a generation. She returned to her community, opening a gym of her own, the Dominique Douglas Gymnasium, providing the same opportunities she'd been given to the next youth of dreamers. Her legacy grew beyond the gymnastics world, becoming a symbol of hope and commitment for all who faced impossible odds. Years later, as she watched her own students compete, she'd think back to her mother's words. "You can't do that, Dominique." But she had. And she had done it with a grace and poise that had captured the hearts of millions. Her story was a reminder that with God on her side and the unquenchable fire of purpose within her, she could achieve anything she set her mind to. The sun set on another successful day at the gym, casting a warm glow over the young gymnasts as they practiced their routines. Dominique looked around, her heart full, knowing that she had not only reached the stars but had brought a piece of them back to her own community. Her journey had been demanding, but it had been worth every bruise, every tear, every moment of uncertainty. For in the end, she had proven that dreams do come true, and that no one could ever tell her she couldn't. As the last of the children filed out, Dominique took a deep breath, feeling the weight of her gold medals around her neck, a constant reminder of her triumphs. She looked in the mirror, her reflection showing not just a champion but a woman who had conquered the unthinkable. Her eyes searched the room, finding the worn-out benches and the well-used bars, each with a story of determination etched into their very fabric. The walls of the gym were decorated with newspaper clippings and photos of her historic moments, serving as silent tribute to the power of belief and the magic of hard work. Yet, the greatest reward was not the gleaming gold but the spark in the eyes of her students as they watched her, dreaming of their own Olympic podiums. In the quiet of the empty gym, Dominique whispered her motto one last time. Desire, dedication, determination. It was a declaration of victory not just for herself but for every little girl who had ever been told they couldn't. And as she closed her eyes, she knew that her story was not just hers but a beacon for all those who dared to dream, a reminder that with unshakable faith and unrelenting effort, the impossible could become reality. Her eyes snapped open, and she turned to face the door, ready to embrace whatever challenge the world had in store for her next. Her heart was still that of a young girl from the projects, but now it beat with the strength of a champion. And she knew, without a shadow of a doubt, that she had become all she could ever be, and more. For in the end, it wasn't the gold that defined her, but the path she'd taken to get there. The echoes of her past had become the foundation of her future, and as she stepped out into the night, the city lights twinkling like stars, she knew she had truly made her mark. Her story was one of hope, of dreams realized, and of the indomitable spirit that resided in every corner of the world, waiting to be discovered. And as she walked away from the gym, her heart swelling with pride, she knew that she had not just won a medal, she had won the hearts of many and had inspired a legacy that would live on, long after the final note of the national anthem had faded away. A parting message. So, as you step into your own arena, remember Dominique's legacy. Carry her spirit of resilience and her message of hope with you. For in doing so, you honor her journey and continue the cycle of inspiration that she began. Keep striving, keep believing, and let your own story become a beacon of light for others to follow. The end.